Namaste, everyone. Welcome to my second vinyasa flow video featuring my dog Cookie Man. He will be chiming in every once in a while. As always, make sure that you have your props handy at the front of your mat. 2 blocks and a strap. If you don't have that, maybe some big heavy books, maybe a scarf, anything, maybe a blanket to sit on. Just do your best with what you have. So to begin our practice today, I actually thought that I would read a little excerpt from a book that I am currently reading right now. And it's been pretty inspiring to me. It's called Do Nothing and Do Everything. So I'm not going to try to butcher this poor person's name, so I'll spell it out for you. It's by a person named Quuangzhao. And it has been really, really, really great for me, especially during this time. And I'm not really going to analyze this for you, I'm just going to let it speak for itself. By choosing non-action, we choose to empty ourselves and go with the flow, rather than fight the current. Non-action does not mean not doing, stopping the natural progression of events. Instead, non-action means to follow nature's course without fighting, striving, or resisting change. We are like water, like the empty vessel, formless and nameless. And in so being, we cannot act. We must accept what challenges the universe throws at us. At the same time, by fulfilling our purpose and allowing ourselves to be empty, we are doing all that we need to do. We do nothing, and in so doing, accomplish everything. So, maybe let that inspire your intention for today, or not. Maybe you have something already in mind that you need this practice to do for you. So let's sit up nice and tall, maybe closing the eyes. Finding that comfortable seat, maybe hands resting on the knees. You could always have some blocks under the knees to bring the earth up to you. Pondering that intention. Gaining control of the breath. You could even start thinking about any type of pranayama that you like to practice. Ujjayi is a good one, raking the breath across the back of the throat, making that ocean sound. And once you have figured out that intention, just letting it go. And to formally open our practice, we'll bring hands to heart center. And we'll all join in an opening Om. You can either Om along with me at home or just listen. Taking a great inhale. Then maybe gently opening up those eyes, just looking down the nose, letting the light come in. And we'll start with some gentle warm-ups. So let's just squeeze those shoulders up to the ears, some shoulder shrugs, maybe let those shoulder blades come together down the back, rolling the shoulders back. You could roll them forward too, making the opposite movement that you just did, just loosening things up. We'll be using those shoulders later today. Let's interlace those hands in front of the heart. Switch the palm to be facing out, stretching forward. Then bring those arms overhead as best as they go. And then leaning over to the right, looking up to the sky. Try to keep that left sit bone down. One more breath. Back up to the middle. And then opposite direction, trying to keep that other sit bone down as we lean to the left, looking up to the sky. One more deep breath, and back up to the middle, and let those fingertips come down to the mat. Let's just take a gentle forward fold with a little twist. So tent those hands over the right leg. Kind of try to center that belly button over the leg as best as you can. We're just warming up. And then just leading with the heart, folding forward. Trying to keep the sit bones connected with the earth as we fold. Inhaling, coming up, exhaling. Always feel free to exhale with an open mouth to really let go. And on the inhale, coming back up, centering ourselves, and then over the opposite leg. So once again, tenting those hands, centering that belly button as best you can, and folding forward, leading with the heart. Just see where you can go. Still very much warming up. And on the inhale, coming up. And here we are back in our seated position. Let's come onto all fours. We will start with our cat-cows. So, with the hands placed under the shoulders, knees placed under the hips. As we take a great inhale, letting the belly hang low, looking up to the sky, and exhaling, arching the back, looking through those legs, following your rhythm of breathing. Don't forget about that ujjayi. Trying to keep it going if you like. It's a little challenge for you. Just a couple more rounds. And when it feels complete for you, coming to a neutral position, and we'll go back into our downward facing dog. So tucking those toes, lifting the hips up to the sky. Maybe those heels don't quite reach. That's okay. Maybe pedaling out the feet. But do use all parts of the hands, spreading the fingers wide, keeping those arms nice and straight. And as you reach those hips up to the sky, looking towards the knees, the thighs, or maybe even the belly. And keep on breathing. Still warming up. Couple more breaths here in our first downward facing dog. When it feels complete for you, looking to the top of the mat, let's step on up, coming up to a half lift, flat back, and folding forward our first forward fold. Maybe those knees are slightly bent. Maybe you need to come a little bit further forward. Try to put a little bit of extra weight in the balls of those toes. It is a forward fold, so you want to be coming forward. If I were to come behind you and push you, you should fall forward, not backward or to the side, which I would never do. One more breath. You could maybe put opposite hand to opposite elbow. And then in your own time, rising up, reaching the arms up overhead, looking to the ceiling, and hands coming through the heart. Standing at the top of your mat, we will go through 2 rounds of Surya Namaskara A, Sun Salute A. Standing in Tadasana, getting here. Let's reach the arms up overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Looking up to a flat back, Ardha Uttanasana. Stepping back into a high plank. Let's take it nice and easy in the beginning and do our knees, chest, and chin, trying to lower everything down at about the same time, and then coming forward into our cobra. Tucking those toes, Coming onto the knees and then stretching back into your downward facing dog once again. So getting here, checking in. Does it feel any better than that first one? Any different? Any worse? Do you need to change the placement of anything? One more breath. Looking to the top of the mat, stepping forward, taking a little half lift here, folding in. Rising up. Now as we go through our second round, you can always take knees, chest, and chin, or you can follow me in Chaturanga Dandasana when we get there. Reaching up overhead, folding forward, looking up to a flat back, jumping or stepping back, high plank, Chaturanga Dandasana, upward facing dog or your cobra, downward facing dog. Breathing here. Take 3 nice breaths. Looking to the top of the mat, jumping or stepping forward. I'm going to try to jump. Whee! Folding in. Reaching up overhead. And to the heart. Let's go through a round of Surya Namaskar B. So bringing the feet closer together, coming into your Utkatasana chair pose. Here for a breath. Coming up through Tadasana and then folding forward. Looking up to a flat back. Jumping or stepping back, Chaturanga Dandasana, lowering down. Upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Lifting that right leg up to the sky, stepping it forward, maybe drag that foot up if you need to, coming up into your warrior one. When it's time, bringing those hands through the heart, coming through your Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Lifting the left leg up to the sky. Stepping it all the way up for warrior one. Sinking in. We're still warming up though, so if you don't feel like you're getting every pose perfect, that's fine. Coming down. Chaturanga Dandasana. Or knees, chest, and chin. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Use those Ujjayi breaths when you can. Looking to the top of the mat, jumping or stepping forward. Looking up to a flat back, folding in. And then rising up into that Utkatasana chair pose. And Tadasana. So, should be feeling a little bit warmer now. We'll flow through some standing poses. So, let's go right back to pose that we just did, Warrior One. Stepping back with that right foot. Settling in. So now we can really refine it. Nice straight arms. That right leg should also be nice and straight. Hips are square to whatever the front of the room is for you. And breathing. Nice relaxed shoulders. And feel that left quad working. One more breath. Maybe even opening up into a little mini back bend, looking up to the sky. Let's go into a humble warrior. So interlace those hands behind you. Open up that heart and folding forward. Try to nestle that left shoulder inside. You may lose your balance. That's okay. We have a mat to help catch us. And let those hands just gently come forward, giving yourself a nice shoulder stretch. Maybe the top of your head even grazes the mat. I don't know. I can't quite get there myself. One more deep breath. And with control, strength, and grace, coming back up through that warrior one. And then we're going to go into our high lunge. So just kind of bring that back foot back a little bit. Now we're on the ball of the foot, sinking down just a little bit more. That quad should be burning. We're giving it a good workout. Nice straight arms. Breathing. One more deep breath. Way to work it, guys. And then we're going to open it all up. So changing our position, opening the hips up to the right side of the room, heel toeing that right foot back, arms out, warrior two. We're still bending that left knee, using that quad. Oh my gosh. It is crazy. Should be a little bit of a relief now that we've opened those hips up, a little different position, but I still feel it. Shoulders relaxed. You're a strong warrior. You've got this. Keep that Ujjayi breath going, gazing over that left middle finger. One more deep breath. And finally, let's straighten that left leg. Five-pointed posture. And then let's reach over that left leg, coming into our Trikonasana triangle pose. Stacking right shoulder over left. If you can, looking up to the sky, like you're being squeezed between two panes of glass. If you need to come up a little bit, please do. Keep the integrity of the pose. Don't be a hero and come down too low and then not feel the benefits. You can look down to the earth, as I often have been, to keep your balance. One more deep breath. And then let's windmill that top arm down. Coming into our plank pose. Let's stay here. 3 breaths. Maybe coming slightly forward. Hopefully I'm in a straight line. Then we're going to come into our side plank. So we're going to go to the right side, so the right hand. And what we'll do, a couple things. You can either stack the feet, rolling onto the side of the right foot, and then reaching that left arm up to the sky, bringing those hips up along with you. Or if this is too much, just step that left foot over. Nice relief. If you need something more, you're back here. Maybe you can lift that leg up. Either, easy to lose your balance, looking to the ground for balance, or if you need an extra challenge, looking to the sky. One more breath. You've got this. And then bringing the arm back down and flowing through a vinyasa, or maybe just downward facing dog, or a nice rewarding child's pose. So wherever you need to be right now. Nice exhales through an open mouth. And when you're ready, Coming up into your downward facing dog. And to begin the same way we did on the opposite side, let's come up, stepping up to the top of the mat, lifting up to a half lift, folding forward. Just hanging here for a breath or two. Maybe we could grab the big toes. You can get a little bit deeper now, or maybe you're still feeling a little tightness in those hammies. That's okay. Just use the blocks. Or just let everything hang. One more breath. Let's rise on up, bringing the arms up overhead, through the heart. All right, so we'll step back with the left foot this time for our warrior one. Step it on back. Find that perfect distance for you. If you need to change it, that's fine. You don't have to be married to wherever that foot landed. You can always make subtle adjustments throughout the entire sequence. So find that perfect place for you right now. Could be very different from the other side too. And breathe. Nice straight arms, relaxed shoulders, gazing slightly up, maybe to where your wall meets the ceiling. One more deep breath. Interlacing those hands behind, opening up the heart, folding forward. Maybe this is where you go for your humble warrior. That's okay. Maybe you can get a little bit lower. And breathe. Let those hands come forward with gravity. One more deep breath. Remember, use that core, use control as you rise up nice and strong, keeping that bend in that right knee through warrior one. And then we're just going to inch that left foot back, coming down a little bit into our strong lunge position here. Arms are still nice and straight. Back leg nice and straight. Hips squared to the front of the room still. Shoulders still relaxed. Find a place to gaze. Building strength in those legs. One more deep breath. Then we're going to open it all out. Warrior two. Bringing that left foot back a little bit. Heel toeing. Hips are open. Arms out nice and wide. Try to keep them parallel with the earth. A lot of times we'll see the arms going up or down. And I mean, you know, just be aware of it. It happens. When you notice it, fix it. If you don't, no big deal. You get it next time. Gaze over that middle finger. Keep making those subtle adjustments. You need to bring that foot up a little bit. That's okay. You should be able to see that big toe. One more deep breath. Shoulders relax. You can see I keep making my subtle adjustments. Oh, and then let's straighten that front leg. Triangle pose. Reaching forward. Coming over that front leg. Maybe keep a little micro bend in that right leg. Don't want to hyperextend the knee. Settle in. Take your time. Make sure that everything feels perfect, or as perfect as it's going to be today, before you commit to this exact position. Reaching with all your cells, fingertips going towards the ceiling. One more deep breath. And then we're going to windmill that top arm down, bringing the leg back. Plank pose. 5 breaths. Maybe you could rock back and forth. And we're gonna go to the left side for our side plank. So maybe stacking those feet. Now I'm not facing you. I'll try to talk to the mat so you can hear me better. Stacking those legs, maybe taking one of those modifications I talked about, whether you need to take it easy or pump it up. Keep those hips lifted as best you can. 2 more breaths. Use that ujjayi and then coming down. If you can do a vinyasa, go for it. If you can't, it's your practice. Let's go into child's pose. Spread those knees wide. Let the big toes come together. One more deep breath. And let's come up. We'll all meet in our downward facing dog. Still perfecting this pose every time we come to it. What can you do a little bit differently to get a little bit deeper? One more big breath. And then let's look to the top of the mat and jump or step forward, folding in. 2 breaths here. See if anything's different. Can you get a little bit closer, fingertips grazing the mat, whole palm on the mat. Maybe you can change the side of the block is on. And then coming all the way up, reaching arms up overhead, hands through the heart. All right, now we will go into a couple different standing poses. So we're going to take our goddess pose and Prasarita Padottanasana. So just step back. I'm going to step back with my left foot so I'm facing the camera. Taking a nice wide stance. And we'll have the toes facing out for goddess pose. So in goddess, it's almost like, our frog pose, but we're standing up. So we will first go into our standard goddess. So let's bring our hands in prayer position and then sit on down to the best of your ability. Keep shoulders relaxed. Keep the back nice and straight. And just breathe. Just take it easy in this goddess pose. Just find a place to gaze and practice your ujjayi. 3 breaths. If you need a little bit more, you can follow me or you can stay right here. If you'd like, you could come up onto your tiptoes. Woo, that brings balance into it. Sink a little bit lower. If you want to get even crazier, you can take the hands out of prayer, maybe a mudra of some sort, and stay here. 3 breaths. Sink it on low. You can do it. And when it's complete for you, bringing those heels down and coming on up. Now we'll change the position of the feet so that the sides of the feet are parallel with the sides of the mat, or even slightly pigeon-toed, coming into our Prasarita Padottanasana, our wide leg standing forward fold. Now, we're going to go through a couple of variations while we do this. So since this is our first one, nothing crazy here. Let's put the hands on the hips, nice and tall, opening the heart, and fold forward, leading with that heart. Maybe the hands can reach the mat. Maybe they can't. Maybe you need a couple blocks. Bring those blocks if you need them. If you'd like to be able to reach the earth and just can't, you can maybe bring those feet a little bit wider apart. Don't bring them too wide. It'll be too hard to get up, and you'll lose a little bit of the integrity of the pose. And as you're here, just breathing and letting the breath and the time that you're here Let the pose just develop on its own as you hang out. This is an inversion, a nice gentle inversion where you don't have to do anything too scary. Gives you all the same benefits of the headstand because the head is below the heart. Just changing things up, the way the blood flows. Gives you a whole new perspective on the world when you're upside down. One more breath just here in whichever form you need to take, with maybe hands on blocks or the earth, or you could even still have your hands on your hips, or maybe grabbing the toes. We'll stay for another extra breath since I'm giving you variations. And then let's take this into our twisted fan. So coming up, hopefully your hands can reach the mat, or if they can't, get those blocks or books. And what we're going to do is place that left hand on a book or block right in the center, right under your face. And then we're going to windmill that right arm up. Feel the twist. Maybe you could go even deeper. You can either stay right here, or maybe you can grab the right big toe or the ankle and then sink in. Looking up to the sky. Gazing at that hand. I could feel myself going a little too far back. So once again, it's a forward fold. So try to put a little extra weight in the balls of the feet. I was kind of cheating myself there. I think that's one of my habits. One more breath. And then let's bring that hand down. We'll just do the opposite side. So right hand now centered right in front of the face, windmilling the left arm up, or if you need something a little bit deeper, bringing that hand over to the ankle or big toe. Once again, in all your poses, just give it everything you've got. Reach with everything you have, like your life depended on it. Go deep. One more giant breath. And then bringing that hand down. We'll do one more form of Prasarita. We're just really getting in there. If you'd like, you could just stay hanging out right where you're at, or maybe bringing hands on the hips and coming up. You'd want to interlace those hands behind the back, and this way we'll really open up the shoulders. We did this when we were in our humble warrior. So coming forward, letting gravity help as those hands float forward. Feeling that stretch. If you ever have any pain, make sure you stop. It's just a gentle stretch. Final breath. Let's bring those hands onto hips as we come all the way up. Heel toeing together. Let's just stand in Tadasana, feeling the effects of the pose. Hopefully you did that nice and slow. You don't want to feel dizzy. If you felt dizzy, just go into child's pose really quickly. And take a few more breaths. Shoulders back, palms facing out, or if you're in that child's pose, resting your third eye. When you're ready, gently coming out of whatever pose you were in. And we're going to work on our handstand today. So I have a couple of options for you guys, and we're going to start with an L stand, which is the beginning of handstand. So what I'm going to do is we're definitely going to use a wall for everything that we do with handstand today. And for our L stand, you want to grab that book or block or whatever you have going on to mark off the length of your legs. So I'm going to grab this block. Bring your bum all the way up against the wall, sitting up with those legs straight out in front of you, and measuring out where your feet are. That's where your hands are going to go. And we're going to use the wall to keep these legs, see how parallel they are with the floor as they're resting on the floor? You want to have them in the same exact position, but flipped around. Now, I don't have anyone with me to tell me if I look like my legs are parallel, so I'm just going to guess. But hopefully you have someone maybe that can help you and say, no, your legs are up too high or down too low. All right, so here we go. So I have my mat right here to put my hands on. And the one thing I will say is when you go into L stand, you're going to say, Laura, this feels way too short. This doesn't feel right. I feel like I'm going to come toppling over. If you feel that way, you're doing it right. All right, so bring those feet up onto the wall. We're going to try to hold this for 3 to 5 breaths. Here we go. Hopefully I'm parallel. Probably not. Keep breathing. And when it's complete, that's a hard one. Coming down, you could take child's pose or just sit in hero's pose. If you'd like, you want to try that again, pause the video. There's definitely a lot to be learned and a lot of strength to be gained by doing that. But next I'm going to show kicking up and staying against the wall. That's if you feel more comfortable in actually going for the full pose. And I cannot do handstand without a wall, so I won't be practicing that mid-floor. So, if you'd like, I'm going to turn around. Now this time, instead of using facing outward or towards the wall, I'm going to be facing outward and kicking up. So, I'm actually going to move my mat a little bit closer. So you want to make sure that you're close enough to the wall for it to catch you, but that you're not too close that you don't have enough room to kick up. So when you come on the floor, you might want to be in like a downward facing dog position, and then probably you'll just naturally bring the strongest leg forward to help you kick up. Whee! Once you're there, trying to make sure you're stacking everything on top of each other, right? So shoulders over wrists, and then if you want to maybe just tease it out, bringing your feet out. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Fun. Or just hanging out. Maybe get 3 breaths. And when it's enough for you, coming down, taking a nice child's pose. Make sure to get nice deep breaths and give yourself a rest. It's been kind of an intense practice if you've been really giving it your all, so congratulations. Next, what we will do is just a couple forward folds. We'll bring it down now. So let's sit on our mat with those legs stretched out in front of you like when we were doing our L stand. And we'll just take a seated forward fold. So let's stretch those arms up overhead and fold forward, maybe grabbing the feet or the shins. Now once again, as I always say, we want to lead with our heart and not round that back. I know that I sometimes cheat myself. You'll see my back is pretty rounded, and I actually can't get very deep in this pose. This isn't one of my specialties, so I'll usually be tempted to cheat here. Just go to your edge. Let your Ujjayi breath bring you inward. This is a very, very inward looking pose. Time to just go inside. Listen to your heartbeat, to your breath. Get to know you. One more deep breath. And then coming all the way up, reaching hands up overhead and bringing them back down. So let's reverse that. We'll take a reverse plank or a reverse table. So two options. You can either keep the legs straight and we'll attempt to make a reverse plank, bringing the hands as far back as is comfortable with those fingertips pointing towards the feet. Or if you feel like, this might be a little too tricky for me because we lift up the whole seat, all the legs, and we attempt to get the toes on the mat. You can also take reverse table, so bringing the feet about where that knee joint would be and then lifting the whole piece up. So, whichever one you choose, getting ready. When you feel the moment is right, lifting everything up, we'll try to get 3 breaths. Lifting up and breathe. When you can, bringing everything down nice and slow and controlled. We'll take one more forward fold. I'm going to change my position a little bit so that I'm facing you. And we'll take a wide leg forward fold. So, bringing the heels onto the ground with the toes facing upward. I like to have a little block. This is another one of those poses that sometimes escapes me. So, I like to have it in front so that I have something to grab onto. When you're ready, just folding forward. Maybe this is one that's really easy for you. You can bring your whole upper body onto the floor. I'm not quite there yet. You would still be leading with the chest and the belly. So actually a lot of people would tend to place their forehead on the floor first. That would actually be the last thing to hit the floor. You'd want that abdomen and chest to hit there first. So as you can see, I'm pretty far from that. If you'd like, you can also maybe grab onto the feet, the big toes, the sides of the feet. And breathe. When it feels complete for you, going up. Put that block back. And we'll come on to our backs. So, reclining down. We'll take another little back bend. So soles of the feet are on the ground. Go into our bridge pose. So as you lift the buttocks up, interlacing the hands underneath, and then coming up onto those shoulders, lifting the pelvis up as high as you can, and breathing. Going for 5 breaths. When you've completed that, bringing the buttocks down, hugging the knees in, Apanasana, maybe massaging the spine. And we'll do one more round of back bends. Maybe you want to repeat that bridge one more time, or maybe you feel warmed up enough, or it's in your practice where you can go into a wheel. So in wheel, you would be placing those hands behind the head, once again with the fingertips facing the front of the mat. Find that perfect spot for you, and when you're ready, lifting up either into your bridge or your wheel. Make sure that those toes are both facing towards the front of the mat, not out. And when it's complete for you, coming back down. Once again, hugging everything in, or maybe you could take a little happy baby. Soles of the feet facing the ceiling. Try to bring that tailbone down, and the legs, or top of the legs, are parallel with the mat. And breathe. And release. Let's come up to seated, and we're gonna set up for legs up the wall. So, or unless shoulder stand is in your practice, you could do shoulder stand, but we've done a lot of work today. So I thought it would be a nice release to take legs up the wall. And we're gonna take our legs literally up the wall, which can be really nice and relaxing, and a way to let a prop, which this time is the wall, which we've used a lot today, really do the work for you. So, coming up as close as you can to the wall. And if you'd like to bring your mat, you can too. And what you're gonna do then is just lie on down, and then let those legs go up. Try to make sure that the buttocks are still against the wall. I kind of have a heater in the way, but we do what we can. And this is it. This is the pose. You can have the arms in a T, or maybe you want to let the arms float up. And you can stay here for as long as you want. We'll do about 8 breaths for this video's purposes. But once again, as in anything, if you're workshopping, like earlier in the handstand, you wanted to pause, go for it. Or this pose, if you want to just really relax, take it for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It's really good to just keep turning things upside down, reversing the blood flow. This is great for if you're either on your feet all day, or even if you're just sitting all day. It's still the opposite of what you were doing with your feet up. So I don't know many people that work like this in any way, unless you're a yoga teacher. Maybe you're upside down this much. So once again, if you need a little bit more time in this pose, please take it. Otherwise, I'm going to exit out. Just find the best way for you. Maybe just the opposite way. Bring the knees to the side, and then pressing hands into the mat. If you need to bring your weight back onto your mat, that's what I'm going to do. We're still going to be reclining on our back. So if you were in a position that you didn't need to move, you could just stay right where you are on your backs. We're just going to come into our fish pose, and then take a reclining twist, and then it's Shavasana time. So on your backs, going into our fish. We're going to use our arms to help us get up, coming onto the top of the head. If the head doesn't quite reach the mat, make sure you bring a blanket or a block if needed, so that you have something for it to contact. And then resting the forearms on the mat, the palms are on the mat. The toes are flared, heels are digging into the mat, throat is open, and breathe. When that's complete for you, coming down carefully, making sure to take care of that neck. And we'll bring the soles of the feet onto the mat. We're going to take our seat or reclining twist. So bumping buttocks to the right. You can either cross the leg over or keep the knees stacked, bringing the knees over to the left. Hands in cactus or T. And then looking to the right. Breathing here. Coming out of that, bringing knees up, same thing but opposite side, buttocks to the left, knees to the right. You can always cross that leg over, and then gaze to the left. When it feels complete for you, and you could stay longer on one side than the other depending upon what you need. Coming back through the center. Any last things you need to do before Shavasana, corpse pose? Once we finish corpse pose, we are born again. So getting settled in your mat. If you need a blanket rolled up under your knees or your neck, make sure to do so. And let those feet flop open. Let the hands just rest naturally, letting the fingers curl. Open those shoulders up. Chest is open, heart is open. Don't have to worry about the breath, just letting go of everything. Slowly coming back, wiggling fingers and toes. Maybe a gentle stretch or hug. And then you roll onto the right side if that's comfortable. Exhale through an open mouth. And we'll come up to seated. So once you're up, finding that comfortable seated position. I'll say a short mantra and end with Om. Yesterday I chanted this mantra 108 times, the Gayatri Mantra. It roughly means we meditate on the being that created this universe. May he enlighten our minds. Om Bhurabhuvaha Svaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Demahi Diyo Yona Prachodayat. Thank you so much for practicing. Namaste.